Hi, we're the
TheraSisters.
TheraSisters.
Two sisters, therapists, and your new favorite podcast hosts. We're here to make therapy fun, comfy, and stigma-free.
We chat with fellow healers and guests about their own healing journeys, how they help their clients heal, and how they see healing in a whole new light.
How do you heal? Do you even know? Tune in and you might just find your perfect healing fit.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with a friend who could use healing vibes. Giggles, glimmers, and a whole lot of heart. Healing together, one laugh at a time. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to TheraSisters. Yay.
Oh, yay.
Yay. Today we have with us Salina Pounds.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Selena. Welcome. So I'm going to go through and tell us a little bit about Selena. She is the owner of Lotus Rising LLC, where she specializes in mental health therapy for couples and individuals with a focus on boosting self-esteem and supporting those who struggle with borderline personality. She's passionate about exploring the nuances of attachment work and how it impacts relationships. She's worked in substance use rehabilitation and in outpatient settings, connecting individuals with mental illness to the essential community resources and empowering them to live independently and pursue healthier lives. Yay! And you opened your private practice in 2020.
Yes, I did.
Can I ask when you graduated?
I graduated May 2019.
Okay. Yay.
And then went into private practice in February of 2020.
Okay. Yes. Oh, February.
Yes.
You're like, oh, great.
It was like 6 weeks on my own and then 2 years at home.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Did you have an office like when you started out, like
Right after school.
or
Right after school, I was with the group practice.
Okay.
And then,
the one that we shall not name?
yes.
Oh,
Uh,
that's right.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes. That's where we all know each other.
Yes, that's right.
And then I got my own office. I shared with Andrew
that's
Franker.
right. And Andrew, yes.
Mhm.
No, I'm sorry, I got you mixed up with Jessica. She
Oh.
was she was in Maplewood, right?
Yes, she was in Maplewood.
And
Yeah.
you were out
in
in
Town and Country.
Town and
Yes,
Country.
underneath Straub's. It smelled like bread.
Ooh.
I'm so hungry every day.
That'd be hard.
Yes. Yeah.
Very cool. But yeah, so what is this? 6 years now?
Wow. 6
Yeah,
years.
congratulations.
Thank
You just passed 5.
Did
That's a big
it.
deal. Yeah, it is a
Yeah.
big deal.
It feels not that long. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm curious. So individuals and couples,
Mm-hmm.
and we know the obvious difference, right? But I'm just wondering for you, like, how do you work with them differently, or what is something that you like about each, like individual? What do you enjoy about that, or couples? What do you enjoy about that?
Yeah, so I would say I work from like an attachment lens. So I like to look at how they grew up and how that shows up to who they are now. And so that's the same between like couples and individuals. So I sprinkle in a lot of different modalities. I work a lot with like emotion focused therapy. I do like a little bit of IFS, internal family systems, and then a bunch of other like random little things. Just depends on like what I'm feeling that day, what I feel like they need to hear. With my individuals, do a lot of like what is that? Where does that, like when you feel that, how old do you feel?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yes. And so a lot of times it's like, it does feel like a younger part, which is kind of where I pulled IFS from. And so then we speak to that like attachment wound there and like how that may have come up. And we do a lot of like, almost like reparenting of like, what did you need to hear at that time that maybe your parent did not give to you? And then in that, there's also a lot of healing from the parent of like, your parent was probably doing the best they could with what they had, and it still probably fell short, and that's okay. And like, we can be sad and angry and like process these emotions. So a lot of that, how that looks in couples is it definitely comes up. I have some couples that are like, it feels like my teenage self is coming up when I get into a fight with you. So with couples, I like to look at how like the system works and how they're like pinging off of each other. And we talk about how there's like a lot of holding space in the gray area. And I do this with my individuals too. Like there's so many things happening all at once. And can we hold that space for that all of those things happening all at once. And then also make sure that we're holding space for ourselves. And in couples, a lot of times when we get defensive, we're like, oh, our partner is doing this to us. They're making me feel this way. And so like, I'm doing a lot of teaching on like, how do we hold space for your own emotion and your partner's emotion and know that like, we don't need to compete.
Yeah.
We don't need to compete. There's plenty of space. So it kind of looks similar but different.
Yeah.
I just had 2 people in the room when I do couples.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm also curious about the working with clients who have borderline personality disorder. What you love about that?
Does that come in with their couples? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. It's interesting when I've started doing like mental health work. I don't know why, but like I was so fearful of like personality disorders. And then when I worked for one of the local hospitals as an outpatient person, they just like give you everyone. They don't care to like take 60 people here.
Right.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Right.
jump right in.
Yeah. Yes. And then I was like, for some reason, I just like clicked and I got it. And with people who have borderline personality, for me, it's like a severe attachment wound.
Right. Yeah.
I actually don't agree with like the personality disorder.
Yeah, well,
Right. The label. Right.
I want to hear more about your perspective and how you would kind of
Paint a picture of what that looks like, because I do think that there is maybe a misunderstanding
Yes.
of what that means, or
Yes.
so please.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think it's, for me, the way I see it and my many interactions with people who have borderline personality disorder, it's a severe attachment wound. It's like this, they've been emotionally neglected from a very young age, probably all the way into adulthood. They just don't know how to regulate. They don't know how to get that secure attachment. And so there is this like disorganized attachment. So it's like anxious and avoidant, and they're kind of flipping back and forth. And that's where we get that, what people might call like splitting or like hot and cold.
Yeah.
It's because they're grasping on to like trying to feel love, and they don't know what secure love feels like. And so they grow up with that, and then it shows up in their relationships, and they are feeling anxious, and then they feel avoidant because they just don't know how to like get what they need.
Yeah.
And so in my work, we sit a lot, because people with borderline tend to go in that like black and white. I do a lot of like pulling into the gray. Like these things are happening at the same time. Like you can feel angry and sad and scared and happy all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like education and a lot of like, what does it feel like to feel all of these things all at once? So yes.
Sitting in that discomfort, or
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious too, because my limited experience is that it's even hard for maybe someone who's been diagnosed that to even seek help, right? Like maybe they don't even see it that way, or it's really hard for them to kind of understand, like you said, what they're needing, or that they do need help. I mean, do you find that? And does it, when they do seek you out, do they feel kind of, I don't know what the right word is, not like combative, but do they feel kind of like
Pushed away.
Yeah, or
Yeah. I think a lot of times it's hard for them to trust others, because they haven't had a reliable source of someone to trust. So like thinking of like, if when you're an infant and a mom is like ignoring you, right? But then she gives you attention and then she ignores you. But it's like hard to like regulate inside of that. So that's coming up with them as they grow up. So I think that's definitely happens in the therapy room too. I think it's because it's hard for them to trust people. It's hard for them to be vulnerable, because that vulnerability is not safe.
so then on some level, you're modeling what a secure attachment can be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
pretty powerful.
Yeah. So, we're showing them that like this is a thing that is possible.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of like validation that's happening of like, it makes sense of why you feel this way, because a lot of times they are putting into categories their feelings as good and bad. And so instead of good and bad, can it just be? It's like a lot of what I do. So yeah.
Very cool. So then, with that kind of avoidant attachment, avoidant and anxious, I can imagine, or maybe this is me with old information about borderline personality disorder, but some combativeness and arguing. And so is that something that comes up? And I can imagine that's an opportunity to kind of show secure attachment.
would say less so in the private practice sector, more so in community agencies. In the community setting, I remember I had a client once she was new to my caseload, and she was not happy that she was new to my caseload. She was very attached to her old caseworker.
Okay.
And so she would not speak to me. She would not speak to me. And my job was like take her to her doctor's appointments and like help advocate for her. And we were in the waiting room and she turns to me and goes, "You're not helping me." And I was like, it's really hard to help someone who won't talk to me.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that, just like something in that like snap, like she would get like mad, and then I just like, oh well, I want to help, but like I don't know, like you won't.
Yeah, I don't know how to help you.
Yes,
because I don't know what will help you.
Right. So there's less of, in my experience, there's less of that in the private practice world.
Sure.
But yeah, I think anytime a client gets mad at me, I'm like, yes, let's talk about this.
Yeah. You're like in the moment emotion process. Let's do it.
Yes, because what's happening between me and the client is happening out there.
Right.
And like my hope is to create a safe space for us to process through what a healthy attachment can look like out in the real world. Because if you can do it with me, then you can do it with someone else.
Because you can handle it, right? Like you can take that anger from like with them and process it with them if they're having that anger with someone else, that person is probably going to get angry back, right? And they don't have a space to process because they're just reacting to each other.
Yes. Yeah. Because I know it's not about me.
Right, exactly. You can sit there in that space of like, okay, like you said, bring it.
Yes. Thank you for this gift.
Yes. And let's use it.
Yes.
Yeah. And, I think too, with that experience, it's a safe place. And the more people get to practice those skills that they avoid, or they'll get more comfortable with it. And we'll just get better at it because it's the emotions typically get in the way of our ability to communicate well. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's borderline personality. And so not very much that you've experienced within the couple setting where you have someone who's, and I don't know why I think it would be different.
Yeah, not as much. I'm also like because of the way I view things, like through an attachment lens. So usually when people come to me with borderline personality disorder, it's like a diagnosis that someone else given to them. Because I'm not big on diagnosing. If it's important to you, we'll do it. So I think I'm not looking for that as much in like the room. I'm just looking at like how is your attachment and what does that look like? And so how can I, because that's my path of how we're going to do healing, less so about like what we're going to call you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Good. Okay. Yeah. Well, and you brought up, even just the word healing. Like, what do you see is, I guess the path to healing, or how do you see your clients heal through the work?
Yeah. So my goal is to get us to a secure attachment. And so like being able to be vulnerable, being able to communicate, being able to express your feelings, being able to feel your feelings. And not shy away from that. And like work through relationships. Thinking of people who have borderline personality disorder, like they tend to cut people off really quickly. So like what does it look like to work through that like difficult time with this person that you love?
Versus just walking away because it's too uncomfortable.
Right.
Too scary.
Right.
So
we do a lot of being uncomfortable. Yes.
I bet you're exhausted at the end of the
day. That's something I constantly play with is like my schedule of like, okay, like Tuesdays I'm playing around because I'm usually there all day. I'm not seeing clients all day. But I'm like, okay, I like to stack people. That way I can like do like 4 or 5 in a row and then like, okay,
take a break.
Yes. So if I can stay in that mindset, it's good. But if I have to weave in and out of it, it's harder.
Yeah, for sure. I get that. Mm-hmm. And I think on some level there can be, sometimes I get energized after certain sessions where it's like, that was a good one. Or, it just really depends on what's happening in the room.
There are some sessions where I would literally lay on the floor afterwards.
Yeah, nice.
And just shavasana for like a 5-minute.
Yeah. It's necessary. For sure. Well, I'm glad to hear that you take care of yourself.
Yes, it's necessary.
Yes. In that small 10-minute window we have in between sessions if we're lucky and we stay on track.
A lot can happen in that 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, and in thinking about that, and thinking about healing, even just your own healing journey, I don't know if you can tell us just a little bit about that. That's a very broad question, but
So I'm in my own therapy. I've been in my own therapy for years. I can't see a time where I'll ever not be in therapy. I think just because the work we do, it's important. Because you never know how like a client is going to hit you, like in the feels, or how you're going to take that home or not take that home. And then, just my own personal stuff I got to work through continuously. Life is still always in motion. So
happening,
especially now. So therapy is an important part of my healing. Movement is a really important part of my healing. I notice I recently, I'm coming off of an injury that I couldn't exercise. So I'm noticing how important exercise is for my sanity.
because you missed it for a while.
Yes. So getting back into it, I'm like, oh, moving my body feels so good. Yes. And then I think for me, healing comes in so many ways. So I love to garden, and I'm just I'm feeling very excited that spring is coming.
I know, aren't you? I am too. I'm excited. Do you do a garden with fruits and vegetables? And
yeah,
it is a good time.
Yeah.
And it's, probably going to be important.
Yes.
We're going to need it more than realize. Maybe.
Yes. I'm definitely being more adventurous in my garden this year. But yeah, I've already started seeds indoors.
Okay.
I'm feeling energized by that. Community too is also really important. Keeping friends with other therapists and people who are not also therapists.
Right.
Do about balance, because therapists tend to talk about therapy things a lot. Sometimes we need a break.
It's good to have a variety of topics to get into and talk about. We can get into our own bubble. As my husband says, sometimes you live in your therapy bubble and there's other things happening outside of it. And I'm like, okay, you're right.
Yeah. I had a friend who's not a therapist come over, and I had brought another friend who was a therapist, and they had not met before. And he was like, what do you do? She's like, I'm a therapist. She's like, and my friend was like, I think I've met 7 therapists because of Selena. Yeah, we tend to flock together. Yes. But a well-rounded community is also an important part of my healing as well.
Good. Very good. It is important. Oh, so another thing is you have a workshop coming up?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So lots of people are burnt out. I don't know if you've noticed that.
It rings a bell.
Lots of people are burnt out, so I've created this workshop to kind of fill that need, to help people with burnout prevention, or if we're already feeling burnt out, what tools can we use? So in this workshop, there's a lot of mindfulness tools, how to notice that we're being burnt out, because we're really good at ignoring ourselves.
Yes.
We're really good at ignoring our cues to let us know that we are feeling stressed and we need some attention.
What would be some examples?
So one of the exercises that we'll go through in my course is, I have an example of a battery. So we're like a phone battery. When your phone starts to when you're at 15%, you notice it starts to deplete really fast, and then it asks you, do you want to go on airplane mode to save what? Save battery?
Right.
So at this point in our life, if we're on airplane mode, we are not functioning well.
Yeah.
So we need to pay attention to how charged our battery is. So we'll talk about things that take away from your battery and things that charge your battery, to kind of practice and pull in some of that mindfulness to notice. And then how does that feel in your body when your battery is low?
I like that.
And then from there, we just build on different tools to recharge your battery and notice your battery, and
then how to prevent it once. I think when I think of the word burnout, I usually connect it to work. And I think with everything that's going on in the world that we're in, for me, I'm like, oh yeah, burnout can be more than just work, right? It's life and the energy that we're giving to things or taking in. And yeah, you don't realize that or I didn't realize.
Yeah.
My eyes are watering. Are you okay? Are you crying about burnout? I think it's allergies.
Oh, okay.
And that's a legitimate thing. I'm not avoiding it.
Let's talk about this.
maybe I'm really burnt out and I will be at your yes. But no, I always equated it to work.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you bring up a good point because even sometimes for us, maybe sometimes work is something that energizes us, you know? And so maybe some of the other stuff is part of what's really draining our battery too, right?
Sure.
And like thinking about things at home and keeping up, you know, sometimes that burns me out. Yes.
Yes. I think we tend to like I think burnout is easy to spot at work because like we're productive in some way. There's some measurement that we're trying to hit. But in our relationships there's not really like a goal per se.
Or a measure.
Yeah.
Or,
So it's
yeah.
more like fluid and just kind of gray. And so we tend to like put ourselves in boxes. It's like, no, what's at home is totally affecting your work. And what's at work is totally affecting your home life.
Right.
And like you don't stop being you when you like go home.
Right.
So burnout is like could be anything.
Yeah.
Well, we have to eat dinner every night.
Like
that is
who's
sometimes
gonna make that?
I know. Right. Sometimes for me, that's the biggest thing is like, I don't even know.
I know.
I do enjoy those nights where I'm like, you know what? It's a fend for yourself night.
Yes.
You know, it could be a bowl of cereal or it could be
All dinner.
leftovers.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I like it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thanks for the
I don't know. Awareness of it all.
Yeah.
And I like the visual of the battery and like on your phone. Like I can picture that pretty easily, you know, obviously. And
Yeah.
like think about it in that way of what drains my battery.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what got you to like really see the need of I need to bring this to the people. I need to bring it to the people. I need this.
Well, a big thing is like the big glaring thing is like the political climate right now. Everyone is stressed out about it.
Yeah.
And it for me it feels and in some regards it is chaotic. And so for me, I'm trying to bring this like landing place that we can come back to ourselves and kind of like center ourselves. The world can be chaotic, but how do we show up for ourselves in that chaos?
Yeah.
And how do we not like get sucked in? And how do we advocate for ourselves and others? And I think burnout prevention is a really key part of that, of like centering yourself to widen this window of tolerance so that when the world is chaotic, that you don't crash and burn with it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I was just thinking, now I am not a meteorologist. I actually got an F in meteorology when I took it in school.
You took meteorology?
I did. I don't know why. I thought it was going to be an easy class. It wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps if you go to class. But side note. But I'm thinking of like a tornado. And is it the eye of the tornado that's like still?
Isn't that a hurricane? No.
But I there's an eye in a tornado. I know there's an eye in a hurricane.
The storm?
Maybe. Yeah. The eye of the storm?
But I think
Okay.
the centerpiece of the tornado is calm and still. And then like the outside is like swirling around. So I just had this visual of like being inside of that.
Yeah.
And right being calm where this outside world is just swirling around us.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
How do we center ourselves inside the tornado of the world?
Exactly.
We'll learn at Selena's workshop.
Yes.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
And I know too that you're also real big on empowerment.
Yes.
Right?
I do.
Yeah. That's a good. So I think like we don't give ourselves enough credit. And so a lot of the work that I do is like you actually have probably a lot of these like tools inside of you. You just need to know how to like fine tune them. And how to use them. And I think it does, I think it connects to attachment because those it gives you the skills to attach securely. And then empowerment, it's like you can do these things. You can have healthy relationships. You can find yourself in the like the calm of the storm. You just have to trust yourself.
Yeah, that's good.
Because we're more resilient than we give ourselves credit for. And I think that's something too with like everything that's going on in the world. We're all like, oh my God, we're all gonna die. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, yes, it's scary, and like we'll shift.
Yeah.
We're resilient. It's not ideal, but we're gonna make it.
Yeah. We're gonna make it.
I just saw a video online where it was a woman teaching like a college course, and she was talking about resilience, and she was just kind of asking her students, you know, what do you think about resilience? And one of the students is like, resilience, obviously, I mean, when we talk about being resilient, it feels really good and strong and powerful. But when we're in the moment, resilience feels really hard and scary. And so, like, when you are resilient, maybe you're not feeling resilient until maybe after the fact.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, yeah, I just was thinking about it in that way. I was like, that's a great way to put that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense too, because in order to be resilient, we get to sit in and face some really uncomfortable places.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Being uncomfortable is how you grow.
Yes, that's what we say, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not fun.
Yeah.
But that's what we do.
Yeah. Well, I think about that a lot too. And with when my clients come in, they don't necessarily want to come in.
Yeah.
You know, and I think about it, you know, it's such a different perspective. And I don't know if I've talked about this before, but like as a therapist, I'm there and I'm excited to see my clients, right? I'm excited to work with them and work through their stuff and show up in that way. But like one time, you know, just a client shared with me, you know, it's like, I get nervous coming here. I don't love coming here, right? It's, and I was like, oh, yeah, duh. Like, that makes sense. You don't necessarily want to come here because I make you uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Right? I push you into those uncomfortable places and sit with them and explore them, and that is hard, right? And so it makes sense that you're like, okay, when's this over? and for me, you know, like you said, sometimes it is energizing for us to like see that,
Yes.
you know, that progress and that movement, and it feels different on the other side.
And we're able to see them being resilient.
Yes.
Right? Like they're not feeling the resilience yet because they're in those uncomfortable places, but we're observing them. And it feels good to us to see people.
Yes.
For me, I think the key factor is like hope that something will be better. For us, we have the hope. Because we have, it's almost like a knowing of like, we know you can get better.
Yeah.
There is something on the other side of this for you. And like we know because we've seen it and we do it and help people do it all the time. So like we're super jazzed that they're coming in. But they're like, this is going to be awful.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have the hope, or I don't even know what's on the other side. Or maybe the idea of the other side means like I have to leave all these things behind. And leaving those things behind is terrifying. So sitting in that like in this uncomfortableness of like dealing with the things that I'm doing right now are probably not good for me, but I keep doing it because they're familiar.
Yeah.
I have to figure out a new way of being, so that's really uncomfortable. So of course I don't want to come in.
Yeah. I think that's a great perspective. Hope.
Something for us to
the
hope and then for us to just remember like, right, this is hard for you, and yeah.
Awesome.
What else?
Yeah.
What else? Do we have giggles and glimmers to talk about?
We do.
Yeah.
Because you were giggling about something earlier.
Yes.
Even if it is an inside joke.
Yes, I said, I don't have something funny, but I feel like you had to be there. So I recently went to the Art in Bloom exhibit.
Yes.
Which was really cool.
I took my daughter there for a little bit.
Is it still going on? I don't think so.
It was short. Yeah, the flowers only last so long.
I think it was just the weekend. So my friend and I went, and we were like coming back, and they like shuttled us in and out. And we were sitting in the shuttle, and it started to take off, and all of a sudden her seat started sliding sideways.
Oh no!
Into the aisle.
Her seat?
Her seat. And the look on her face, because we were going forward, but she was going sideways. And her face, I just like cracked up, and like we were just hysterically laughing on this bus, and everyone was just like really quiet, wondering what the heck we were laughing at, and I couldn't stop laughing. She couldn't stop laughing. Oh my god, these people are gonna think we're high. Promise I haven't taken anything. But it went on for like 10 minutes because their seats just kept going in and out.
What kind of shuttle is this where?
I don't know why the seat was going in and out into the aisle and back in.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah. So every time the bus turned, like her seat would go out, and it would just like ensue laughter again.
Yes. And then you laugh even harder because it's like a quiet. You have to be serious. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
It is an art museum. I always think that it's serious and quiet.
Yes.
And the people are quiet and serious.
Yes. Yeah. There was nothing serious that was happening in our aisle.
Oh, that's a good deal.
Yeah. So I was thinking, I just recently went to the mayor's ball for Mardi Gras. I know, we're so fancy. Well, my husband gets comp tickets because he does the sound and lighting. And so we went to the mayor's ball, and it was like super fun. You know, everyone gets all dressed up Mardi Gras like, and it's so great.
To wear masks.
You wore a mask, and I had a hat, and
Pictures.
yeah, I'll share pictures. And so I took my friend, like my one of my BFFs from like when I was like 4 years old. We've been friends for like 40 years. And so her and her husband came, which was a good thing they came because my husband had to like schmooze. And so if they hadn't come, I would have been by myself, which I've done it before. Yeah, I would have probably. But anyway, so I was just thinking they had all these performers, and maybe this is kind of sad, but it was funny in the moment because they had a performer who was, and I'm sorry if you're out there, who was juggling. And I'm not sure how long he's been juggling because he dropped his things quite a bit.
Oh, no.
And we were just like, there was a moment where we're just like, let's just watch this juggler here. And he like got up on this pedestal on the stage, and he was juggling, and I was like, but I mean, he did really great. He came back, but like in that moment we were just giggly because it was like, it was just like, oh, look at this performer. They're being very brave and vulnerable up there on this stage. But it was, overall, it was a fun night. So there were a lot of giggles.
Yay.
Yeah.
I guess my giggle is we had our wig party.
Yes.
And we put the wigs in box and bags, so we didn't know the wigs that were going to come out, even though Katheryn, I got them all. But just like, I don't know. When we put them on. And yes, so I had one, well, I tried multiple wig on. But one I put on, and I looked like Laverne and Shirley. I looked like Shirley from
You look like Shirley.
Yeah, which is a 1970s TV show. Mm-hmm. And then I turned it around, and I looked like Moira from Schitt's Creek when she was the crow lady.
You looked a lot like her. It was hilarious.
Yes. And then Katheryn put this one wig on, and she looked like a lunch lady.
I did.
I thought it was funny.
Or I kind of looked like, what's his name? Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah.
It was that kind of a hairstyle.
Yeah, it was quite a thing.
And then our mom put on a giant pink afro wig, and she looked really cute.
She did look really cute. I loved it. It was good.
So those were some good giggles.
Yes,
for sure.
Nice.
And you had some good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we like to laugh.
You have to.
You have to.
It's the only way to get through. It helps with resilience.
Yes, totally does.
Yes. And burnout, right?
Yes,
Laughter and all of that.
Yeah. And
what else? What else? Do you want to talk about a glimmer? Is there something about your work that we didn't talk about? Because you do so much, Selena.
That's my
you do so much. Well, that was another thing we had. Like, you have a blog, and you have an Etsy shop where you sell mental health like tools and things.
Coloring pages that are fun and
T-shirts. We're wearing our matching T-shirts. Amy designed.
I know they're cute.
But in our healing era, I love that. Little Tay mad.
Taylor's inspired.
Yes.
Yeah. So my blog, it's just out there for anyone. Part of my like trying to have healing a little bit more accessible to people of like, here's some stuff from like someone who is an expert in these things that you can consume for free.
Awesome. Very good.
And then my Etsy stuff is just different things, t-shirts, coloring pages. I have a few workbooks. I have like a boundaries workbook on like if you're struggling with boundaries, and these are not replacements for therapy. They're like maybe if I'm not quite ready for therapy, or I'm in therapy and I want something to do in between sessions. That's there for you. And
do you have a course on there too? Or is there an online course somewhere?
So I've taken that course and I've adapted it to the burnout.
Okay.
So I've taken down that course because I think I want to do more in-person stuff with courses because I just feel like
the connection.
Yes, the connection in the community.
I
think that's part of the healing, and that's something that I want to foster.
Yeah.
I'm very crafty.
Yes.
And so that's my way of getting that outlet out, like bridging the gap between like my creative side and therapy, putting it out into the world.
Very good.
It's good.
Yeah.
We'll have lots of things to plug at the end.
Yeah.
The empowerment, the Etsy shop, the blog, all those things.
Do we want to
Are we doing a glimmer?
No. Yeah,
Oh, glimmer.
Yeah, something.
It's a little bit, different than a giggle.
Sign of growth or felt love. I have a glimmer that, well, I don't know if I'd label it a glimmer, but I had a very challenging, hard day with very big topics, emotions with my clients. I only had 3 clients that day, but thank goodness I only had 3 clients that day because it was really hard stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess kind of it was one of those moments where it was like I had to leave the session and go to the bathroom and just kind of cry a little bit and then come back and then just cry on my way home as I drove, to just, release that stuff. But I was also able to reflect on it in a way of, I was able to offer this space. I was able to offer this support and it was with couples. So I was also able to offer this bridge for the 2 of them to talk about really hard things. So it felt really good in the moment. It was like, but so anyway, that's my thing.
Yeah. It's important to reflect and go, okay, there was a purpose on some level, or yeah.
Mhm.
I was thinking, have you come up with one?
I'm still thinking.
Okay. I know, it's
I
hard.
have a few things rolling around, but I'm trying to hone it in.
So this might be a little bit more personal, but why not? So like in therapy, I agree, it's important.
Mhm.
And so I realized that one of my things is with attachment, and I'm not quite sure my attachment style. I bounce around, I'm sure. But there's a competitiveness sometimes I find. And I'm also kind of I'm aware of this and I'm working on it and I'm getting better at it. But I used to be someone who would like, I need my one person, right? Wherever I go, I need to have one person, they're my person, and I'll be really attached to them. So you can help me out here. No, but then I also noticed that I can get competitive. Like, I don't want this one person to be liked more than me or anything like that. So I was thinking this actually this morning, so that's why it's fresh on my head, kind of about you. And like, we do so much together. And I'm like, but Katheryn is so cool. And everyone's going to like Katheryn more than me. And oh my God. And I'm like, hold on, Amy. It is okay. She is different, even though we're very similar, but people will like her and they might like her more than you, and that's okay. But they'll also like you, and we're just different people and have different energies. And I don't know, it's just like a moment of like, this is okay. I don't need to be competitive against my sister.
Yeah.
And it isn't about,
That's to be personal right back.
having a therapy session right now.
Sorry,
Yes.
Selena.
We didn't mean to put you to work
so
today.
She's like, I want to see this.
No, I feel that. I have felt that.
My competitiveness
I
about
have
it.
that. And as the younger sister, there are times I've compensated for that in like how we show up with our parents sometimes, or
Parents,
let's
have
have
to.
to,
Right?
right? And so because there are times where I've thought about things where I was like, did they only reach out to me? And so I'll be like, well, don't forget to reach out to Amy, or like silly little things like that, or just like, because I don't want that feeling if it feels
Competitive,
right. Because
well, I don't think it's me. I think that brings that energy, and I'm going to be better at it and work on not bringing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I apologize that you
No, not in a bad way.
It's just you guys.
just in a way that like that I understand you and that I feel, and I think sometimes, I mean, it's probably is something just that's hard to talk about. These might be real.
Not allergy.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for
Anyway.
listening. Yes, you have a glimmer.
Well, that was really beautiful to see. I can tell that you guys have such love for each other, and that's very sweet. I don't have a sister, so it's like really nice.
Brothers?
I have 3 brothers.
Oh.
I love the collection.
Yes, there's something to that.
Yeah, definitely a different dynamic than that.
Yes,
But yeah, it's really nice to see you guys. Beautiful.
A glimmer.
Recently, I had a very intense session of some parents in my room.
Okay.
Lots of me interrupting, trying to redirect, trying to calm, and it just was not happening. And so I was able to be very honest about like, I cannot, like, this is not my expertise. And so for me, sitting in the growth of like not being good enough, right? Like I can't fix these people, and one, it's not my job to fix them. It's something like I battle with. Yeah. So like sitting in that uncomfortableness of like, I can let this go. This is not for me. Like they need to go and like figure this out and like get the help they need. There's someone else better out there for them. And so sitting in the okayness of that.
Good.
It was difficult, but also very relieving to know like that's not mine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To be like, it's okay that I can't be what they need. And there are people out there. And to kind of, instead of fighting to make it happen, which is a lot of energy to be able to go.
Or even feel guilty about not feeling like you can help them when it's like, this isn't my wheelhouse or my person, people, right? Because our clients, we work with clients who we fit with, and not everyone is a good fit, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and just the growth for you to be like, you know what, this is okay. This isn't a definition of my value. Yes.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks.
Look at us.
For all of us.
Yeah.
So,
let's
part
hurry up a little bit.
Yeah. The last part.
Our chewed up bowl. Thank you.
We love the chewed up bowl. I don't know if we should replace it.
I know.
Yeah. And he's in the room.
Yeah.
So yes.
This is not a question. It's just a sentence.
Oh.
I need to pull another one.
That's interesting. Well, what's the sentence?
It says these questions should help spark fun tea, conversations, and joy.
Oh my God, you can tell that we blindly were typing. Just throwing them in.
That's how you know we don't know what they are.
What's something you absolutely refuse to share no matter what?
And you're expected to share it?
Oh, but maybe it's like a physical thing too.
Like physically share?
Yeah. Like I think of friends, like Joey doesn't share food.
Yeah, right.
That's gross. But I mean,
I went the other route.
I was thinking something you don't talk about.
But
well, that makes sense for therapists. Yeah. Of course, that's where I went.
Contact, like there's no matter what is the thing.
Right.
Because there are some things like I'm not going to share with my clients.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not important for them to know.
This is true.
And then there are different people that I'm like, I feel comfortable sharing different things.
Mhm. Yeah. But no matter what, like with your husband or your brothers,
Right.
or
I think it would be more of a physical thing.
My toothbrush feels right.
Yeah.
I was going to say my contacts, but I have given my old contacts to my brother-in-law.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but I don't get them back. So
It's not really sharing.
Yeah. What about you? Something you would never share?
I don't know.
I feel like I'm just like, oh, you need this?
personal.
Oh,
Okay.
here, have this.
Yeah. I have, okay, this is embarrassing.
Okay,
Good.
good.
Well,
Not really,
but
but it's good. Maybe it's weird. I sleep with a puppy. I have a little stuffed animal that I sleep with, and I don't like to share it because sometimes my daughter is like, "I want your puppy," and I'm like, "Fine." Oh my God, she's got a million. And so there are times where I'm like, no, I don't share that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
I
will, but I don't like to share my food.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is,
But,
but
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, toothbrush, underwear.
Swimsuits.
Yeah, swimsuits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Food is probably a good one. More so desserts. I think for me, it's like growing up, sweets were like a privilege. And so like they weren't something that we got a lot. Yeah, like the scarcity of it. And even now, like it's interesting how things follow us. Like even now, I'm like, you can't have some of my ice cream. This is mine.
Right.
And I need to eat this until I'm like overly full because I'm never going to have this again.
Right.
Even though like I'm my own person now and I can just go buy
You
my
got a
own.
whole tub of ice cream.
Yeah.
You can buy more.
Yeah.
No, I know there's something to that. But it's not like we Like when we grew up, it was just like open pantry.
And our family always had sweets.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
So
for
I
every
mean,
meal.
I'll share sweets, but it's like the real meal.
I'm not doing that. You can't taste my food.
Oh. No. Yeah. No,
I like
sweets,
it.
I'm not gonna share that. I will.
I know,
Selectively.
begrudgingly, right?
Like,
There's always this feeling of like there's not enough for me.
Yes, I know.
It's very, very young.
yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
The connection of
when did you feel that?
she's about 5 years. She's about 5 years.
I don't know what age that is.
I think I share all of my food.
Yeah, you're good, Sharon. Because you're the youngest.
I'm the youngest. I never had anything of my own. No, that's not true. I was also spoiled, but I probably had an abundance, so it was okay to share.
Well,
I think that's everything.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, I guess our final thing, what we typically do is, and we talked about this a little bit already, but the final plug of, do you have something to promote? Do you have something to put out there just to let, and where people can find you?
Yes. So, 2 things to promote: my burnout prevention website. That
Website.
It's a page. My burnout prevention workshop on my website.
Got
Got
Awesome.
that is coming up on April 5th.
what day is that? Is that
It's a Saturday. And it's 4 hours. I have early bird pricing. Full price is $240, so pretty reasonable for a 4-hour workshop. And you'll also get a self-care tote bag full of like fun self-care things.
Lovely.
So more incentive to come.
Yes.
And then my second thing is my Etsy shop. So if you can't come to that, but you want something to work on your healing journey, check that out. I've got all sorts of fun stuff there.
Yeah. And how did they find it? What is it called?
Lotus Rising Store on Etsy, but you can all find it through my website, which I'll be tagging in the show notes, or do you want me to say it?
Just say it.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, it's lotusrising-llc.com. And so you'll find links to all my fun stuff that I've got.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And your blog is there.
Yes, my blog is there. Everything's there. My links to my social medias, my Etsy store, my workshops, my services.
So grab those tickets.
grab
Your
your
friend.
and her social media is great. She's very funny.
You are.
You're great.
You're great. Yeah. It's good. It's good.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for therapy today.
Yes.
Of course. It was so
For sitting with us
Through our moment.
Yeah.
And so we are TheraSistersStL .com.
Yeah.
And
We have a website.
Have a website.
TheraSistersStL.com.
And
have a podcast,
which
we're doing right now. And we have exciting things coming down the pipeline.
Yes.
We are
We're
working
working
on
on
them.
put
So
some
many things.
out in the world.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Like, follow, subscribe.
Yep.
Till next time. Giggles and glimmers. Giggles and glimmers. All right. And I can take that out and stop.
Thanks for hanging out with us on the TheraSisters podcast. We're so glad you tuned in. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter for more healing goodness, events, laughs, and all the good stuff we don't want you to miss out on. Until next time, wishing you giggles and glimmers.
Out.
Out.